everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about the Dynamax adventures, and more specifically, I want to talk about the different kinds of Pokemon that are available inside these Dynamax adventures. Obviously, if you've been playing through some of them, you've probably come across some of your favorites that you like to pick up, and there are definitely some Pokemon in these adventures that are really, really strong, and there's some other ones that you probably kind of want to avoid for your team. Now, I want to talk about what I think are some of the best Pokemon that you can pick up from these Dynamax adventures, and ones that you should definitely be trying to get on your team. Now, obviously, this is going to be like a general overview. You obviously want to try to craft your team depending on what legendary specifically you're fighting at the end, or if you don't know the legendary because you've queued up for a random one, based off of the type. So, for example, one of the Pokemon that I'm going to talk about is Galerion Lanoon, but that might not be the best option if you are going up against, you know, some legendaries specifically, mainly any, like, physical attackers, or legendaries that have any kind of fighting moves. You probably want to avoid Galerion Lanoon, but there are some cases where Galerion Lanoon is absolutely phenomenal, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Before we get into this video, I would like to remind everybody that we do live stream over on Twitch. The link will be in the description below, as well as you can see our Twitch channel tag right here. We do lots of shiny hunting, but we've also been doing a lot of these Dynamax adventures with the Crown Tundra DLC having dropped just last week. We're mainly focusing on completing the Gen 8 Shiny Living Dex. We're only 4 shinies away, and then after that, we're going to be grinding out these Dynamax adventures. There's so many legendary Pokemon in here that I don't have in shiny form yet, and I would love to be able to get them. And this is such a cool way to be able to shiny hunt the legendaries. So if that seems like something that you're interested in, feel free to come by and check us out for a live stream. We stream Monday through Thursday evenings around 9 p.m. Eastern or so. Again, the link will be down in the description. Alright, so enough of me blabbing, let's get into this. So the link that we're going to be using today is, all this information can be found on Cerebi. I will have the link to this page down in the description below. So we want to talk about some of the Pokemon that are the best options to use in a general sense. Again, like I said before, obviously you would want to craft your team based off of what legendary you are fighting at the end. So there are going to be some situations where some of the Pokemon that we mention are not necessarily going to be the best option. But again, you can use your own judgment when it comes to crafting your teams for whatever legendaries at the end. But some of the Pokemon we're going to talk about today are just, in general, some really good Pokemon that you want to be looking out for on your team. So the first one I want to talk about here is the G-Max Butterfree. So the other cool thing about all these Pokemon in the Dynamax adventures is because it's all like a rental team, every single time you encounter a Butterfree, for example, and this goes for every single Pokemon, whether you encounter it somewhere in the den, or it's one of the options at the start that you can pick, Butterfree, for example, is always going to come with Pollen Puff, Venoshock, Rage Powder, and Giga Drain, and it will always be able to Gigantamax. The only thing I think is possibly different about Pokemon, and I don't know this for certain, I think the abilities on some Pokemon can be different. I don't know if the ability is always 100% the same as well, but the moveset, and if it's a Gigantamaxable Pokemon, that will always be the same. So you don't have to, you know, be worried, oh, if I go to get this Butterfree, maybe it's not going to have Giga Drain. It's always going to have this moveset every single time, so you don't have to worry about that. So talking about Butterfree here, obviously it can Gigantamax, which is very, very useful. You have access to Pollen Puff, which is a really, really good move, being able to do damage to whatever you're fighting against, but also to be able to heal your team as well. That's going to come in very, very handy in certain situations, because if you're not too familiar with the Dynamax adventures, you essentially have to fight 4 different Pokemon in Dynamax raid battle format. None of them have shields, which is really good, but across the entire den, if you get 4 deaths on your team, you immediately lose. So being able to have Butterfree that has access to Pollen Puff is very, very good. If you need to heal your team, then it's just going to come in clutch and potentially save you a death or 2. And then being able to heal itself with Giga Drain is very, very useful. Rage Powder to be able to redirect moves onto the Butterfree. If you're up against like a ground type, for example, then, you know, you could Rage Powder, and then if it uses a single target ground move, then it's going to target Butterfree, and then it's not going to affect it because Butterfree is flying. And then also having access to Venoshock and being able to potentially poison the opposing Pokemon is also very, very, very good. So Butterfree is a Pokemon that I love being able to pick up whenever I see it. It's just a really, really useful Pokemon. We've also, right next to it, got the 2 Raichus, so we have the Cantonian and the Alolan Raichu. The other cool thing is that you can get the Alolans in here, which I just think is really, really awesome. Alolan Raichu has access to Thunderbolt, which is great, Psychic, and Round. There have been some really interesting things that you can do if all 4 of the Pokemon on your team have Round. It's really, really interesting, so if that's something that you want to try, Alolan Raichu is an option. Being able to have access to Psychic is good, and also, if you want to manually put up Electric Terrain without having to use a Dynamax Pokemon, then that is also a very good option. Paired with the Cantonian Raichu, it does have access to Rising Voltage, which is, you know, twice as strong if there's Electric Terrain up. The only thing to keep in mind, though, is that, I believe Cantonian Raichu always comes with Lightning Rod. So you just want to be careful that if you have a Cantonian Raichu on your team, that nobody else is trying to use Electric-type moves, because if they do, Alolan Raichu is going to suck them in, and they're not going to do any damage to the boss. So just keep that in mind. Clefairy and Clefable are very, very good. They potentially can have Friend Guard, which in these Dynamax adventures is very, very useful. Being able to reduce the damage done to your entire team is so much better than just being able to reduce the damage done to your partner in a doubles battles, but being able to protect your entire team is super good. Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff, I believe, also can have Friend Guard. I think I found a Jigglypuff that had Friend Guard. So that's also a very good option if you're going up against a maybe like a dragon-type boss, and, you know, one of these is one of the final Pokemon. They're fairies, so they're immune to dragon anyways. But then also being able to reduce the damage done to the rest of your team is going to be very, very helpful. With Clefable having Follow Me, again, you can redirect moves if you really want to, like if you're going up against a dragon, and you anticipate like a single target dragon move, you can Follow Me, and then it's gonna not do any damage. Dazzling Gleam, Meteor Beam, just some really, really solid moves. And then Clefairy, having access to Mystical Fire and Magical Leaf is super good. Having access to Reflect as well can be very, very good. And Life Dew to heal your team, that is an exceptionally good move as well. So be on the lookout for Clefairy and Clefable. Also, if you come across the item vendor, not really like the vendor, but the item NPC, and they give you, and one of the options is an Eviolite, and you are rocking a Clefairy, that is, or a Jigglypuff, that is going to make your Clefairy and Jigglypuff incredibly, incredibly tanky, and it will make it very, very difficult for those Pokemon to get knocked out. Dugtrio was kind of cool, you know, or, sorry, Alolan Dugtrio was kind of cool. Having access to Screech can be very good to really, really drop their defenses. And, you know, Sucker Punch, if they've just got a little bit of health left, you know, and you can just get that instant priority move to knock them out. So not a horrible option, but wouldn't be like my first pick. When it comes to like Gloom and Vileplume, having access to Toxic is very good, because all of the Pokemon, because like they don't have shields, you can get status conditions up on them very easily, as well as the bosses too. So that is a very, very handy thing to keep in mind. Cantonian Persian is very good. You've got access to Play Rough and Facade. So if you want to do like some tricky things where you like poison potentially your own Persian so that Facade does double damage, that's an option that you can use. When it comes to Polywrath, Polywrath is very, very good. Having access to Drain Punch so it can heal itself, that is very, very good. Body Slam, you can get a potential paralysis on. Liquidation is just a very solid water physical move. And then Coaching as well. Being able to boost the attack and defense, the physical attack and defense of your entire team can be very, very helpful. So any Pokemon that has Coaching, we can see that Machoke has it here as well. Any Pokemon that has Coaching, that is a really, really good option to pick up for your team. Haunter. I want to talk about Haunter for a minute because Haunter is arguably one of the most broken Pokemon inside these Dynamax adventures. Haunter has access to Hypnosis. Now, obviously, Hypnosis can miss, but being able to put the like the boss to sleep and then being able to heal off of it with Dream Eater is very good. And then if you don't need to heal, you have Hex, and that will do even more damage if they are asleep, or if anybody else on your team has affected them with a status condition. So like if Poliwrath goes and gets a paralysis off with Body Slam, then you can just start hexing, and then you'll be doing extra damage, which is very, very good. Haunter is it's just a super, super solid Pokemon. Haunter is also pretty quick as well. So not too much is going to outspeed Haunter, and that is just a really, overall, just a really, really solid option. Kingler is very, very good against a specific boss. Kingler is very good, ironically, against Zygarde. And the reason is because Kingler comes with Wide Guard. So when it comes to a Zygarde, any Pokemon with Wide Guard is a really good option. 2 of Zygarde's moves hit your entire team. So being able to constantly just put up Wide Guard so that you can protect your team from Land's Wrath and Thousand Arrows is so, so needed when it comes to Zygarde, because Zygarde is a very, very difficult Pokemon to deal with. It is the most difficult boss. But again, we're kind of talking a little bit general here today. Alolan Marowak is a very, very good Pokemon to use. Having access to Flare Blitz, which is an incredibly powerful Fire-type move, is very good. Also, Will-O-Wisp, being able to put up a burn instantly as long as it lands, that is a very, very good option as well. When it comes to Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, these Pokemon are quite good. Hitmonchan just has a lot of type coverage. You have Power Up Punch and then Fire, Thunder, and Ice Punch. So just a lot of different types that Hitmonchan can deal with. And then Hitmonlee is another good Wide Guard user if you need a Wide Guard user against Zygarde. Ditto is phenomenal, especially if you get a Ditto that comes with the Imposter ability. Being able to instantly transform into whatever you're fighting against is very, very good. Ditto is just super, super strong, and being able to use Ditto against the boss too, you transform into the boss, it's just absolutely incredible. It's super good. Porygon is another amazing Pokemon that you can use, also benefits from Eviolite exceptionally well because it's not evolved. Comes with Foul Play, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, which those 3 give you so much different coverage when it comes to different types, so that is very, very good. Also, Porygon is a good option if you're going up against Giratina, because Ghost moves will not be able to touch Porygon. And having access to Foul Play is just a really, really good option when you're going up against some of these bosses that can do a lot of damage there as well. Noctowl is another good option because it, again, has access to Hypnosis and Reflect as well, so you can put the boss to sleep, and then you can throw Reflect up to protect your team. That is very, very strong. Togetic is a good option, also benefits from Eviolite because it's not a Togekiss. Having access to Life Dew to heal your team is very good. Play Rough as well. Mystical Fire, just some really good moves as well. And then if you really need a redirect, it also comes with Follow Me. So that is a really, really good option there if you come across it. Polytode, very, very strong. Polytode is naturally very bulky, so it's going to take a couple of hits to defeat this thing. Again, we talked about Liquidation. It's a very solid Water-type move. Earth Power as well, very good Ground-type move. And then having Helping Hand. A Pokemon with having Helping Hand on your team can be very, very good. If you get to the boss and one of your teammates Dynamaxes, if Polytode doesn't have anything that is super effective against the boss, but the Dynamaxed Pokemon is super effective, you're usually better off just using Helping Hand on whatever Pokemon has Dynamaxed, and that will make the boss a much, much easier time to deal with. Blossom also has Helping Hand here. I believe the Evolutions, one of them has Helping Hand, I think. Maybe not. Yeah, Jolteon has Helping Hand. So that is another potentially good option if you want a Helping Hand user. Now, I never thought I would say this, but Dunsparce has done some amazing things for us in the Dynamax adventures. Dunsparce has ridiculous type coverage, which is crazy. Dunsparce has access to Skitter Smack, Dual Wing Beat, Shadow Ball, and Ice Beam. Those are 4 different type moves, so the amount of coverage that Dunsparce has is very, very good. So Dunsparce is definitely a Pokemon that is worth picking up for quite a few different bosses. It'll just help you in a lot of different situations. You know, having access to Shadow Ball and Skitter Smack, it makes dealing with a lot of the Psychic legendaries very easy. Ice Beam, so you can deal with anything that is a Dragon type or a Flying type. And then Dual Wing Beat, being able to take care of some grass types. I can't remember off the top of my head because the Sword of Justice trio is not in there. So I can't, off the top of my head, think if there's another grass type legendary. Well, Tapu Bulu. So if you need an option for Tapu Bulu, then, you know, it can be an option, I suppose. Hitmontop, very, very solid Pokemon. Having access, again, to coaching, which we talked about, is just very good. Coaching in general is a really good move that you want to be on the lookout for, especially if the rest of your team are all mainly physical attackers, because coaching only boosts physical attack as well as physical defense. But if you've got an entire team of special attackers, then you don't want to worry about coaching, because that's not really going to do anything. Having access to Triple Axle can be very good if you get 3 consecutive hits. Drill Run has a high crit rate, so that's another very good option there. Blaziken also has coaching, which is, again, we talked about coaching a lot. Close Combat, Blaze Kick, and Fire Pledge, very, very good moves. If you come across a Dark type, then Close Combat is very, very good. Galerion Lanoon. This is a Pokemon that has done some very, very good things. Having access to Snarl mainly is super, super good. Snarl reduces their special attack, so if you are going up against any special attack based legendary, Galerion Lanoon is such a good Pokemon to pick up. If you do your opening 2 or 3 turns with Snarl, the legendary is going to almost be doing no damage to your team, and then it will just be a matter of time before you take down the legendary. You can be a little bit more relaxed, and you can just slowly chip away at it, and you won't really have to worry about the legendary defeating you as easily as it otherwise could. Also, having access to Substitute, too, is a potentially really interesting option. Also, okay, so Pelipper as well. Again, Pelipper is a wide guard user, so perfect against Zygarde if you need that. Ninjask is just incredibly fast, and having access to Fury Cutter. If you're going up against a Psychic-type boss, Fury Cutter is really, really good because it's super effective, and you just continue to use Fury Cutter, and its power just goes up and up and up the more you use it. So that is a very, very good option against Psychic-type bosses. Absol is very, very strong. Blizzard, being able to deal with dragons, which there are quite a few dragon legendaries, so that is a good option. Night Slash and Fire Blast, you've got a lot of coverage there. Night Slash having a high crit chance, so that is very good if you're up against a Psychic type or a Ghost type. So that can be very, very good. Luxray we'll talk about next. Being able to set up its own electric terrain for Rising Voltage without having to go into Dynamax form is very good. You can essentially just go turn 1 electric terrain and then just spam Rising Voltage, and then you'll be set. Drifblim is also a pretty good option. It has access to Will-O-Wisp, so you can burn the opponent. Thunderbolt is a very good electric type move. Psychic, very strong move, and then Tailwind as well to be able to boost the speed of your team if you've got some Pokemon that are a little bit slower than the boss. A turn 1 Tailwind against the boss is a really good option there as well. Crocodile is another very good option. Having access to Darkest Lariat is very good. Being able to bypass stat changes and just do like true damage is very, very strong. Again, if you want to play a little bit ballsy and you have access to Swagger, and Earth Power, just another very solid ground type move. Crocodile is a pretty good option if you come across it. Cofagrigus, very, very solid option to use against anything that has an annoying ability. I'm looking at you, Zygarde. Cofagrigus being able to get rid of Zygarde's power core, whatever the ability is called. Basically, the ability of Zygarde is what allows it to transform into the 100% form. So being able to take that ability away from Zygarde and then give it the Cofagrigus' Mummy ability, and then if another one of your teammates makes contact with it, they'll take the Mummy ability from Zygarde and then pass on whatever their ability is. So you can use Cofagrigus to just remove Zygarde's ability to turn into Zygarde 100%. So that is just a very specific scenario, but when it comes to Cofagrigus, it's just a good option to use against anything really that has an annoying ability. And then also having access to Shadow Ball and Psychic is very, very good as well. Haze to clear stat changes if you need that. Just a good option for you all around. If you come across a Garbodor, that is a very good option because this is a Gigantamax Garbodor, and it will always be Gigantamaxable. Having access to Sludge Bomb, Venom Drench, just 2 good poison-type moves. You're very likely to get poison up on the boss if you don't have a toxic user on your team, so this is a good combination. Drain Punch to be able to heal yourself is good. So yeah, just a solid option on Garbodor if you need it. Amoonguss, very, very good option to use inside of these Dynamax adventures. Having access to Giga Drain to heal itself, Venoshock to potentially get poison up and Rage Powder to be able to redirect like Butterfree could. Very, very good options all around. So yeah, Amoonguss is a very good option to use as well. Galvantula is an okay option as well. Having access to Electro Web to be able to slow whatever you're fighting is quite good. Also, Thunder is a very, very powerful move, especially if you have a rain setter. Like if you've got a Drizzle, Polytode, or Pelipper, or if you've got a Dynamax Pokemon that just used Max Geyser, then you've got the Rain, and then Thunder's 100% hit. That's very, very good. And then Bug Buzz, just a solid bug-type move, so the Galvantula is a pretty good option against quite a few of the bosses in there, because most of the legendaries that we have are Psychic. So that is that's just a good option to be able to use. Mienshao is a good option, again, if you need a Wide Guard user. I believe there are 5 Pokemon in here that can have access to Wide Guard. So if you need one of those for Zygarde, you've got some options there. Pangoro is another very, very good option. It has access to Coaching, which we've talked about already. Bullet Punch as a priority move. Darkest Lariat being able to bypass stat changes. A very, very good moveset on Pangoro here, so definitely a good option to pick up for you. Talonflame is another good option as well. Again, you have access to Tailwind. If you've got Rain up, Hurricane is 100% accurate, and then Steel Wing and Flamethrower are some other good moves in there. Flamethrower definitely the better of the two. Malamar is decent as well. Having access to Expanding Force is very good. If you are able to put up Psychic Terrain, then that is just going to, you know, being able to hit all targets is irrelevant because there's only one target, but it still gains the power boost as well while Psychic Terrain is up, so that is a very, very good option. Topsy-Turvy to be able to invert the stat changes could be really, really interesting. And then Night Slash and Thunderbolt, just solid moves all around there. Lurantis is a very, very good option. If you get a Lurantis with Contrary, definitely take it. It is incredibly powerful. Being able to boost your special attack by 2 stages when you use Leaf Storm, rather than lowering it by 2 stages, is incredibly powerful. And then it also has access to Round. So again, if you're doing some funky things with Round, you know, maybe throw off a Leaf Storm or 2, even if it's not very effective, to get all of those stat boosts, and then your entire team just starts spamming Round, could be funny. Mimikyu, so powerful. Mimikyu is incredibly good purely because of its ability. The ability resets every single time you defeat a Pokemon and you move on to the next one. So every single fight, including for the Legendary, the first hit that Mimikyu takes is going to do no damage to it. It's going to just break the disguise and then you take a little bit of damage. But Mimikyu being able to just almost nullify the first hit that it takes of every single fight is going to be very, very strong. And then also having access to Shadow Claw is just a very solid move. And then Baby Doll Eyes if you need. Baby Doll Eyes also gets priority, so that is very, very good. And then you can curse the boss if you like. So that is an option if you want to get some extra damage in each turn. Thievul is another good option. Having access to Foul Play is very, very good, especially if they're a physical attacker, because then you're going to do more damage to them. And then also having Snarl to be able to reduce their special attack if they're a special attacker, and if they are using moves that are going to boost their stats. If like the boss uses any kind of a max move that boosts its stats, Burning Jealousy is a good option to be able to get a burn on them. So that is a really, really good option there. Sandaconda is a very, very good option. Having access to Scorching Sands is very good to be able to potentially get a burn up from a ground-type move. That is very good. Scale Shot, you're probably going to want to avoid, even if you are up against a dragon. You might use it, but just be aware that Scale Shot is going to lower your defenses. Skitter Smack, a very good bug-type move. And then Glare being able to paralyze the boss. Glare has a 100% accuracy rate, unlike Thunder Wave, where Thunder Wave can miss. Glare is 100% accurate, so as long as there's nothing else in play affecting accuracy, Glare is going to paralyze the boss, so that is very, very good. Toxtricity is another good option because you have access to Rising Voltage, so if you are able to get Psychic Terrain up, or sorry, Electric Terrain, then Rising Voltage is good. It also has access to Thunder Wave, so that's another potential option to use to paralyze the boss. G-Max Hatterene and G-Max Grimmsnarl, so good. G-Max Grimmsnarl having access to Power Up Punch and Dark Pulse, 2 very, very good moves. Power Up Punch obviously getting stronger and stronger as you use it, but then its G-Max move being able to put the opponent to sleep that is very, very good. So if you don't have another sleep like Hypnosis user on your team, then Grimmsnarl is a good option for that as well. Hatterene with coming with Expanding Force is very good. If you go Gmax, you can set up your own Psychic Terrain with Gmax with the Gmax Psychic type move, and then when you come out of Gmax form, then you'll have a boosted Expanding Force, which is very good. You've also got access to Play Rough and Life Dew if you want to heal your team, and Safeguard to be able to prevent your team from getting status conditions. Like if you're going up against something like a Gmax Toxtricity or a Butterfree, having access to Safeguard is super, super good because status conditions stay with your Pokemon throughout the entire den. So being able to protect your entire team from, you know, like the poison or the paralysis from like the Gmax Toxtricity and from Butterfree, that is a very, very good option. Gmax Alcremie is another incredibly good Pokemon to use. Having access to Decorate can be very, very useful. Especially if you're going up against Zygarde, having Alcremie on your team to be able to decorate one of your more heavy damage dealers, that is a good option. And then the moveset of Dazzling Gleam, Mystical Fire, and Magical Leaf just gives you a lot of type coverage. So yeah, Gmaxable Alcremie is very, very good. And then Dracloak here at the end. If this was Dragapult, this would be a little bit better, but it does have a very good moveset in Shadow Ball, Dragon Rush, Assurance, and then Will-O-Wisp to be able to burn is very good. So Dracloak is not a horrible option as well. And that's going to do it for this video, folks. I know I mentioned quite a few Pokemon that were on that list, but again, these are some Pokemon that, from my experience, have done some really cool things inside the Dynamax adventures. Of course, feel free to experiment with whatever Pokemon you want. Obviously, again, there are going to be a lot of different factors at play when you are going up against a specific boss or based off of what your teammates use. So there's a lot of things to consider. But in general, I just wanted to highlight some of the Pokemon that I felt just overall are really, really good to use in Dynamax adventures and ones that you should be looking out for and trying to pick the paths if you see them further up. Thank you again, everybody, so much for watching this video. Be sure to let me know down in the comments how you've been enjoying the Dynamax adventures. Let me know if you've caught any shiny Pokemon in there, be it Legends or just regular Pokemon. Let me know down in the comments below. I love going through and seeing all the different shinies that you've got. Again, we do live stream and we do a lot of Dynamax adventures on our channel, so feel free to come by and join us for a live stream if you are interested in joining us for some Dynamax adventures. That's going to do it for this video, folks, so thank you all again so much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.